Hi, and welcome to Never Too Early. I share stories as a preemie parent for anyone who needs to or wants to hear them. In this episode, I want to share what helped me during our NICU stay. Every NICU journey is different, every baby is different, and every parent is different. So I really cannot speak for everyone. But what I can do is to share what helped me in case you might recognize yourself somewhere in it or find a small idea that may help you tomorrow while sitting next to your baby's incubator. They're simply the things that held me together day by day. One of the biggest anchors during the NICU stay was my husband. His Northern German temperament kept him very calm, steady, and grounded. No drama, no hero performance, no trying to fix things. At the same time, he was also emotionally present and very caring. He didn't try to fix my feelings or rush me through them, but he just stayed with me in the experience. He was there for every discussion with doctors, every piece of paperwork, and every discussion. And at home, he took care of most of the household chores and prepared meals. So I didn't have to worry about more things after long days at the hospital. When everything felt uncertain, he was steady, and that steadiness mattered more than words. Support also came from family and friends, each in their own way. Some people were calm and patient, others were more uplifting in a completely different way. There were small visits for coffee and meals near the hospital, and messages that didn't demand replies, and thoughtful gifts that reminded me that I was not alone. And then some even brought humor into the situation. It might not be for everyone, but humor really worked for me. For example, one friend said, "You're a tiger mom. Of course, he had to come out early. Don't worry, he'll be the fastest and the earliest at everything in his life. Don't worry." And another said, "Oh my God, he's such a nice child. He made it easy for you to give birth. You didn't have to push out 3 to 4 kilo baby. I mean, he's already so kind to you," etc. They really broke me out of crisis mode, and it was enough to start seeing things from a different angle. I am deeply grateful for how different people showed love in different ways, and they truly were like light during dark days. I had been journaling for a few years already by then, so writing was my way to process things. In the NICU, it started pretty simply. There were free small notebooks available at the hospital, and I began writing short bullet points on daily updates, medical milestones, and treatments, also some small memorable moments, etc. Nothing poetic or fancy, just some facts and fragments. Once I settled into the rhythm of the NICU, it slowly turned into something else. I created a private account on Instagram for a small, closed circle of friends and family. There, I shared daily updates with a few photos and a little summary from the day every evening on the way home on the overground train. It became a quiet ritual and the way to close the day for me. And I'm actually still sharing weekly updates there to this day. Looking back, it helped me remember every little progress every day. And it helped me cherish moments that might have otherwise disappeared into exhaustion. At the end of the day, we're humans and relationships mattered more than anything. The doctors consistently provided clarity one step at a time. They were factual, precise, and no matter how I phrased my questions, they would never project their opinions. That was fascinating. But at the same time, I thought it was really reassuring. And day to day, I spent much more time with nurses. Many were women and mothers. Senior nurses carried this calm confidence that came from years and years of experience. So even with the language barrier we had, I could lean on them completely. Younger nurses brought energy, gentleness, and relatability. They were often more openly optimistic, sharing what they've seen before, and that mattered a lot. A few male nurses also stood out. One nurse was this K-pop fan who related to my baby in like a very playful, broy way, and that was super cute. And another was a gay nurse who was exceptional at his work, but also knows how to bring lightness and fun and humor into the room. So his presence really changed the atmosphere on heavy days. So there were days that I actually waited for his shift, and there were family consultants and the music therapist. They always came with resources and help, and they really cared deeply about parents, especially mothers. Their visits were always warm, calm, grounding, and very human, like older sisters or aunts. I felt seen and cared for. Many doctors, nurses, and other staffs were mothers themselves of adult children, teenagers, and older kids. So they didn't feel like just professionals, but like a big network of women with more life experience than I do. They provided not only medical services, but also shared small everyday details about life after hospital, things I could never imagine back then, like poopy diapers, pushing a stroller like it's a shopping cart, etc. Those moments quietly gave me glimpses of life after the hospital, and that mattered more than they probably knew. At some point, curiosity became a coping mechanism. I started seeing the NICU as a learning environment and got to observe how the system and the machines work in the NICU for 4 months, at least at a superficial level. I wasn't a medical staff nor a passive patient. I was somewhere in between, so it was possible to be a curious observer. I learned how machines worked, what numbers meant, and which numbers mattered. I became familiar with cables, syringes, cannulas, and tubes. Eventually, I could look at charts and daily management screens and was able to ask informed questions to nurses and doctors. It even helped us later. After discharge, we made a couple of visits to the emergency room, and we weren't too terrified because we were used to many things at the hospital and what they meant. One of the most important shifts was letting go of expectations. I learned to take one day at a time, no false hope whether the day was good or hard. I stayed grounded in daily routine like showing up, taking care of my baby, doing the NICU parent tasks, staying aligned with doctors and nurses on medical progress. And I let go of what I could not control, and that did not mean I lost hope. It meant conserving energy for what actually mattered. Again and again, I returned to one simple truth: my baby was alive and he was being cared for. Sometimes that had to be enough. I trusted the process even when outcomes were unknown. I could sit next to my baby and be present. And I stayed grateful for the care surrounding us. All in all, this episode is a reflection, and I hope it can quietly accompany you wherever you are in your journey. If you are a NICU parent going through this right now, how are you managing your day to day? And if you've been through this journey before, what helped you get through it? If you feel like sharing, I'd love for us to hear from one another. Sometimes exchanging experiences is how we find small ways forward. In the next video, I'll share the last stretch of our NICU journey, coming home. I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you, and I'll see you there. Thank you for being here. This is Never Too Early.